welcome back to another episode of GeekdomMOVIES. We took a little bit of a break. My living room got flooded, which was exciting for us. We bought a new TV, and then when we were moving the TV, we found water underneath the carpet. And then it was in the process of like putting in the TV, but then realizing it's flooded. So we were just going through like 1 week of like, and then my TV that I bought actually wasn't working like the way it was supposed to. So I had to take it back. And then George, being the good guy that he is, came over and helped me with that. And we rented a U-Haul, returned the TV, picked up the new TV, installed the TV. Wow. And honestly, I think George is the only person I've seen like in the last 3 months, like that's a friend or a family member outside of my wife, of course. So that was fun, but that's been settled. We decided to take a break because once the TV was put and the living room was back together, if you guys noticed, we did put Extraction review up, and I'm right now doing the Sinbad and Willoughby's. That might be up by the time you guys watch this. So yeah, so now that things are back to normal, we're doing another episode after taking a little bit of a break. What's going on in your world, Shannon? What's new? I like your new did you get a new lipstick or do something to your hair?
I tried a little darker lipstick today.
That's what it is. It looks cool.
Thank you.
I feel like we should be watching a Tim Burton movie. Yeah, I was like,
there you go.
We should watch Edward Scissorhands.
I should have worn this for the Willoughby's review. So I've been doing tons of gardening. I've got a lot of my seedlings that I showed you in the other videos out in the yard now, and I made hexagon-shaped planter boxes.
I did see the picture on Facebook. That looks cool.
Thank you. Yes. They look like a beehive, and
they do.
People really liked them. So other people have been sending me pictures that they copied, and they made them as well. So I was pretty excited about that. I'm a trendsetter. #influencer.
Hashtag free fresh vegetables and things for yourself. How much do seeds cost anyway? Or like the soil? How much does it cost to garden?
A bag of soil is probably $7 or $8, and that's for organic. I'm using organic potting soil.
Wow, that's not bad at all.
Which you mix half and half with the soil in your own yard, so it spreads a long way. And then the planter boxes each cost me $7 to make with the wood, but I had a lot of the wood already here. And then it takes about $7 with the dirt to fill it. So they're about $15 a piece. I've got I think I have about 12 of them in my yard now. And then I put, the seeds are really dirt cheap. And I put like tons of beets, carrots, parsnip, kale, everything. It's all out there. I've got a lot of herbs planted too.
Nice. Make sure, because my aunt used to do that, and the rabbits will eat everything, the animals. You have to have a...
So what I'm doing for the rabbits, I'm going to get a fake owl. I'm going to spread red pepper, which scares away the squirrels. I planted marigolds, which they don't like. And then I'm going to make a tea out of garlic and mint, a really strong tea, and then I'm going to pour that around the perimeter because they don't like the strong herb smells. So that'll be all around the perimeter, and hopefully that'll help. And my yard is fenced in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let us know what happens. Is your living room now like what? Are you moved in completely, and the basement's fine again, or?
The basement is all dried up, and construction has begun again in the basement. The upstairs is nearly finished. Things did slow down a lot during COVID because we can only order supplies so often, and then they take a long time to come in. So we ordered doors about 4 weeks ago, and they won't be here until June 2nd. So the entire upstairs, all the doors, all the closet doors need to be replaced. I won't be able to get to that until June 2nd. But I did find a roommate, and she's moving in 2 weeks.
Wait, what happened to your other friend?
The other girl that was living here, she found her dream home, so she moved out by the airport. The Detroit airport.
Nice.
Yeah.
By Romulus. What is it called?
She's out by the DTE airport where she works.
Okay. I think the city's called Romulus or something. I can't remember. But that's cool. Yeah, it's a great time to buy right now. Mortgage rates are super low if you're buying homes.
If I had known 6 months ago that this would happen, I would have bought 6 months
You and George
later,
both.
Yeah.
It was, you really couldn't predict.
Nobody would have guessed that this was going to happen.
Yeah, unless you're like a prophet or something. And
what was terrible is I I considered it as a possibility back in January, like very start of January, just because like news had been going around about it. So I asked one of my coworkers, I'm like, hey, do you think this will affect us? I mean, like, I'm kind of concerned it might, And he was like, well, I don't really know. But yeah, who would have known back then that it would now?
And you wouldn't know how serious it was either, because none of us knew until Italy how bad it actually was. So it could have just been like a small thing like bird flu and SARS and the swine flu, which was like a little bit of like something happened, but then it was like completely fine. So nobody knew what this was going to do. But yeah, your best chance was just to get out, buy, and honestly, moving in before the virus probably could have been the best thing for you guys, all things considered.
Yeah. Not having to share a house with somebody and be stuck in the house with somebody that I'm not, married to has been a blessing. So.
All right. So George, what is happening in your world besides house is now fine and you bought a new TV, the 65-inch?
Actually, I've had this TV. It's what's new is my computer is actually new. I got a new gaming desktop, and so because of that, now things are running a lot faster on there. I can run all of my games at like top speed, and it's fantastic. I absolutely love this.
Did you see the trailer that dropped for the PlayStation 5 Real Engine 5 demo?
No, I haven't seen that. I've seen the Xbox one, but
you have to watch it immediately. The whole 10 minutes that I was watching it, I'm like,
it's a 10-minute trailer for a video game system?
Well, yes. The 10-minute is free play. So it starts off with like this girl who's like archaeologist, like Indiana Jones, and she's looking for some kind of like
It's a 10-minute trailer?
Yeah.
For a video game system?
Yeah.
Just to show you what it can do?
And it blew up. You must have seen it, Georgia. Did you miss it?
I've seen
Unreal Engine
the controller. I've seen like other multiple things about it, but I haven't actually watched the trailer itself.
So I played it on my TV with 4K HDR, where the technology, it's like you're literally playing a Pixar game.
Is it a trailer that you play?
Well, I mean, it's somebody playing the trailer.
You play the video.
But you play the video. Long. Yeah.
All right. I guess that makes sense.
Wait, does it have VR?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're going to have VR, but they haven't released anything for VR, but they did say VR is capable in PlayStation 5 as well. But yeah, this game trailer, what they have created for real, like we've had Real Engine 4, which is the engine used to create video games. It's the biggest one for like a decade, I would say. And we've kind of been using that for Xbox games, PC games, PlayStation games. And the PlayStation 5 one is like, you're literally playing like a full Pixar movie in Pixar format, like as a real game. That's how far advanced this thing is. It might even be better than a Pixar movie. That's what freaks me out even more, is like it looks half realistic and the other half animated, and I don't know how they did it, but it is. The way the sun hits and the way the things just, you just have to watch it. I really am just way better. Like it makes Assassin's Creed look bad.
Wow.
Like it's dated. Like that's how good it is. So check it out. I don't want to. Yeah, that's another news story I can talk about later.
I played my friend's Oculus virtual reality game the other day. I was blown away. He started me off on the very first thing he had me do.
Was it the lightsaber?
No, I played that one, but no, it's a game where you are standing on top of a skyscraper.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. You push a button and then the elevator door opens and it's just a plank. And it's a fall to your death on the cement below. And you have to walk off the plank. Sounds easy, right? Because you're literally standing on like a living room floor. It took me 5 or 6 minutes to get up the nerve to walk off the plank. It freaked me out. Your body reacts as if you're really on top of a skyscraper.
Yeah, the depth perception in Oculus Rift
it's crazy.
And that's just like the first technology. We're not even talking about what the 10th version of the Oculus is going to be 10, 20 years from now. But
we are all going to be living in that movie.
Inception. No.
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. That's
Yeah,
gonna be
that-
10
that-
years from now. We're all gonna just live inside virtual reality.
I'm excited about that.
Me too. I'm in. Let's do it. It sounds like a blast.
Absolutely.
Oh man. So work is going well, George, and anything else?
No, not really. No.
Okay.
Just excited about this computer.
How much? No, I'm not gonna ask that online. I'll ask you later because I've been looking for a new PC, like a new gaming laptop since I got the new TV. But I'll ask you that after we're done recording this. Okay. So the biggest news we have to talk about is that Justice League, which was originally supposed to be written and directed by yours truly, Zack Snyder, kind of never happened, and Joss Whedon took over, and it was a dumpster fire because Joss Whedon basically did not do a good job. I don't think it was his fault, but it was just not.
Yeah,
what
I mean, Joss Whedon usually does an amazing job at everything he touches, so I don't think it was his fault either.
Yeah, Warner Brothers pushed it. Joss Whedon didn't really have time to make it, and he was just reshooting the material they already had. It was just like a mess. But anyways, this has never been done before in Hollywood. A movie came out, bombed, got released on DVD, Blu-ray, streaming, and then it's being reshot for $20-30 million plus and being turned into a completely different movie.
With the same actors?
Same actors.
Wow.
Same movie, just they're reshooting it and redoing the entire movie of Justice League with this movie. And it's going to be released in 2021 on HBO Max, which is going to be the big new streaming service for HBO. And to really explain the craziness of this movie, you really have to dig down and go back a little bit and understand what happened. And so I'm going to try to do that right now. Okay. So Zack Snyder was the original director of Man of Steel. Man of Steel came out in 2013, 2014, I can't remember, some time ago. Big hit, one of the biggest profitable Superman movies ever made. Really great movie. I think I watched that movie like 10 times. Like it's really, just really good. Then, of course, it was announced that Warner Brothers saw that how much money the first Avengers made, because Man of Steel came out, and I think it was only like a year or less. Avengers 1 came out, and it was like $1.5 billion. Biggest superhero, like, you know, it was just, you know, opening weekend, biggest opening weekend of all time. Just did bananas. Of course, that was taken after Force Awakens was released. But the point is, like, Avengers was huge. And suddenly Warner Brothers and DC Movies were looking at Avengers and going like, we want that. But instead of taking your time to set up a cinematic universe, they just decided to not make a Batman movie, not make a Wonder Woman movie, just make Batman versus Superman. And it's Batman and there's Wonder Woman and it's supposed to set up Justice League. But like when you watched Avengers 1, you had already seen Thor 1, Captain America 1, Iron Man 1 and 2. You had the Hulk movie that ties into it as well. You had a lot of moving pieces, and you kind of had the core characters kind of set up in their own movies, and it took about 5 years before Avengers 1 was released. And Warner Brothers decided, oh no, we just like money. And if we make Batman versus Superman, we're just gonna do that. And it was bad, which is, it should have been, because like there's Wonder Woman in there. What is she doing? Why is she there? Nobody knows. There's Batman. What's his backstory? What's going on with him? Nobody knows. And it was just a giant pile of garbage. And because of that, everybody predicted that Batman versus Superman was everybody was saying, oh, Batman versus Superman is going to make more money than Avengers 1, and it's going to blow them out of the water. We've been waiting for Batman versus Superman. Well, it wasn't that good. And then Zack Snyder was fired right after Batman versus Superman because the executives went to Zack Snyder and said, you didn't make $1 billion movie. And he's like, well, you forced me to put Batman and Wonder Woman in there, but it wasn't like set up the right way. And all I could do was just kind of work within the storyline. So it wasn't really Zack Snyder's fault. This all goes back to the Warner Brothers execs, and the guy who was the head CEO Hamada, I think his name is, or something like that. And it came out, not only is he a dick and a a-hole at the same time, he is also sleeping around with some young girl, and he's doing the whole Me Too thing, telling girls that if you work for him, become his secretary, you get all these movies and things, and it was just chaos. So all of that when happened, he was fired and let go. And he did not care one bit about making a real cinematic universe. He did not care about setting up the DC heroes like they should have been. He forced Zack Snyder's hand to make this movie. Then he forced them. And then he blamed him when it didn't make over $1 billion and didn't make Avengers money. And then fired him in the middle of Justice League while he was halfway into filming Justice League and writing his story that he set up from Batman versus Superman, and said, "You're done. We're done. You're getting fired." And he used all these excuses. Oh, Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide, which was horrible and wrong, of course. But like, he was like, that because of that reason, we're gonna let Joss Whedon come in and do the shooting. But in fact, he was fired. He was legitimately fired, and he blamed him. And Warner Brothers was just like a mess for a while. And when Joss Whedon came in, Joss Whedon was like, "Well, if you want me to make Justice League, I can't use his script and story because I'm not in charge of that story." And WB, Hamada, whatever his name is, was basically like, "No, you have to finish the story with all the shoots that Zack Snyder had already done. And you have to come up with a different story to make it look better, make it like Avengers, make it more comedy, make it more colorful." And he's like, "You're asking two different versions of the same movie, but you're asking me to do something different, but keep his story intact at the same time." Of course it was going to be bad. Like, nobody thought that was a good idea in the first place. So it gets released and it bombed. Justice League was a big failure. And Hamada, the CEO of Warner Brothers, got fired because of all the allegations with Me Too. And then also Zack Snyder basically gave the middle finger and said, like, "I'm done. Like, I don't even want to come back." So there was a lot of tension. Joss Whedon was pissed because he felt like he was blamed for a lot of Justice League when he was told to take and make a different movie like Disney's Avengers with using the same story. So he's mad. Zack Snyder's mad. Hamada's getting accused of like allegations of sexual whatever, Me Too stuff. And it just, Warner Brothers got fired him. Zack Snyder did his own thing and left. Joss Whedon went back to Disney and started working on his own projects. And since Justice League, we kind of like saw the rebirth of the new Warner Brothers, the more confident, more understanding of what they're trying to do. And because of that, Wonder Woman is really good. Aquaman is even a lot of fun and really good. And Joker is great, and it was, nominated for Best Picture, and even Joaquin Phoenix. And Warner Brothers and DC Comics have kind of come back after the Hamada, Zack Snyder, and all this BS that happened with all of this. And the CEO or Warner Brothers went back to Zack Snyder and said, "Hey, we know you were upset, but he's not here. Would you like to come back and maybe do another DC movie, or maybe do Man of Steel 2, which I'm all for. I love Man of Steel. I think that movie needs to happen at some point or another because Man of Steel was so freaking good. And Zack Snyder he got Man of Steel so right. Like, he did a phenomenal job. If it wasn't for Warner Brothers pushing the agenda of Batman versus Superman and Avengers like Justice League, I think a Man of Steel movie by him would have been great. So all of this mess, he said, "I want to finish my Justice League movie. And that's the only way I'll come back." And so they thought about it, and they we heard a little bit of like mumblings and people talking about it, but nobody knew for sure. But then it was announced, no, like Zack Snyder was greenlit to come back and finish his Justice League movie like he was planning to make. And then maybe with a $30 million reshoot, like a completely different film, taking everything out that Joss Whedon did, putting back his own version of Justice League that followed the storyline of Batman versus Superman and Wonder Woman. And he's going to finish it. And all the actors want to come back and finish the storyline that they signed up for. That's really exciting. Like, honestly, it'd be like somebody was mad you know, like the last Star Wars movie wasn't good, and then Disney was just like, yeah, like the Rise of Skywalker is not good. We're just gonna just redo the entire movie and release another movie completely down the road. That's what it would be like. It's never been done before. Nobody ever does this. You just kind of, you know, you make a movie. If it does bad and doesn't make profit, you kind of forget about it and be like, well, that was a mess and that was bad, and we're just gonna go do something else. For them to say they are giving $20 to $30 million for Zack Snyder to come back, even after all of this fiasco and craziness, it kind of gives you respect for Warner Brothers, in my opinion, because I do think that if Justice League gets finished the way he intended, we can have Ben Affleck, maybe, well, maybe not Ben Affleck, because I think he said he's done, but we can have another Man of Steel. We can have another Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash team up, or something like that. It's going to be interesting. They can finally go ahead after Justice League 2 and make Man of Steel 2, Flash movie, Cyborg movie, Aquaman 2, Wonder Woman 3 down the road. And then, you know, they could even include Shazam into it because he's part of the Justice League down the road.
And I love Shazam.
Yeah, it is really good. And I really think this is great for Warner Brothers because they have really done a fantastic job since the other guy who did Suicide Squad, and he did, you know, Batman versus Superman, and Justice League. Like, it's all done and everything looks beautiful and more hopeful in the DC universe. And I'm just really excited to see this version. Now, for all I know, this could be crap because Batman versus Superman is not the best movie ever, but I do think it's better than Justice League. And I think Justice League could really have another, like, this could be big. I really think DC is trying to recover and somehow fix their cinematic universe by doing this. What do you guys think? I'll throw it over to George first because I know you're a big action superhero fan like me.
Okay, so for me, the biggest question I have here is, did Ben Affleck agree to come back for the reshoots?
Yes.
He did? Wow.
Yep. Everyone is
I'm just
back
going to
in that
say
picture.
wow.
Every
Because,
single one. Yep.
that was, I mean, like he had said, he wasn't doing any more Batman. So I mean, like the fact he would come back for reshoots for that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
You got to remember, Ben Affleck signed on for Batman versus Superman and Justice League because of Zack Snyder's script and the way they were making Batman in that movie. He liked that. He wanted that. And he defends Batman versus Superman to this day because that's the Batman movie he wanted to make. So for him to come back and continue that same story that Zack Snyder set up for Batman versus Superman and then Justice League 1 and 2, yeah, like no brainer. Of course, Ben Affleck's coming back. Second thing is, Henry Cavill quit too after Justice League. We got to remember, he went off and said, I'm done with Superman. I'm hanging up the cape and I'm not coming back because he was also pissed. All of these people were really mad. Cyborg actor was mad. Even Aquaman actor Jason Momoa actually went over to Zack Snyder's house and watched like the entire movie that Zack Snyder filmed in the story and said like, yeah, we need to finish this movie, guys. He was the first one, and Zack Snyder was the first one. Can we please finish this movie? Because it is really good, and it does a really good job. So if these actors are this excited, if Henry Cavill is excited to come back and play Superman again, if Ben Affleck's willing to come back and put on the cape and play Batman to finish this Justice League, I mean, that's got to say something, right? You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Shannon, did you have anything to add to this? I don't know if you've even seen any of these movies.
Yeah, this makes perfect sense to me that this would be the first time it happens because of how much money the Avengers movies have made, and how well done they are and how beloved they are, and they've defined a decade. And for this Justice League movie to tank was such a huge disappointment to so many people who grew up with Justice League. And they did a great job with Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and people really liked Ben Affleck.
Shazam.
So Shazam, I did see, and that one was so fantastic. That's almost like their Deadpool for this. So this makes perfect sense that they would say, yeah, let's do it right. Let's do right by Zack Snyder, and let's make this happen. So I'm excited to see where they go with it. I think this is great. I'm really happy all the actors are on board.
Yeah, so we'll keep you guys posted more about this news as it updates. I mean, this is just great news to hear, and I'm excited to see what other stuff come out of it. All right, on to our next news. Just a small story that I want to talk about. So Tom Hanks' new movie, the World War II movie Greyhound. I don't know much about this movie. I do know they were filming before coronavirus hit. And even though there was no release date, Variety is reporting that it has now been bought out by Apple TV Plus, which is the new streaming service on Apple, and you'll be able to watch it. Their last movie was really good. I enjoyed it. The Banker was the last Apple movie that I saw, and it was really good. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
that was a pretty good movie.
Now, I don't think this movie is going to I don't think this movie was ever going to make money like in theaters anyway. So for them to just put it on Apple or whatever, Netflix, pick your poison, which streaming service you want at this point. If you're not going to really, you could put it on Amazon for, there's so many options these days. But like, this is good news. I mean, I think we do need new releases like Artemis Fowl that's coming out in a week or two, or Scoob this week. And so just having that option gives us the ability to watch new movies continuously at home and still do reviews while saving the big ones like all the big blockbusters like Wonder Woman and Mulan and 007 and all of those big gigantic extravaganza films you can wait to see when theaters open up again. So I don't know. It could be good. I like Tom Hanks. I'll watch Tom Hanks in anything. I'll be honest. In my opinion, even a bad Tom Hanks movie is a good movie in my world. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, Tom Hanks is always good in everything. Can't go wrong.
George, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see him in a war movie. Because I feel like I've seen him in one before, but I can't remember.
Saving Private Ryan?
Forrest Gump?
No, Forrest Gump's
not. Well, it's got war parts.
I know, but it's not
he
a
says
typical. I know, but it's not a war movie. Like Saving Private Ryan
That's
is
true.
a war movie.
I know,
1917.
I was joking. I was just making a joke.
You're not wrong, though. If you think about it, it does deal with the Vietnam War, if I remember correctly, at some parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
does,
his buddy in the wheelchair that he met in the war. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm rather excited to see Tom Hanks in another war movie.
Yeah, let's see.
Really good in that.
What is this movie even about? Set in the early days of World War II as an international convoy of 37 Allied ships, led by Hanks, Captain Ernest Cross, crosses the treacherous North Atlantic while being hotly pursued by the wolf packs of Nazi submarines. Ooh, that description is selling me. It'll mark the first time Hanks has seen one of his movies go directly to streaming. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to. I'll watch it. Music by the Beastie Boys? Okay, that's weird. That's weird for a war movie. Beastie Boys? I don't know about that. But, yeah. All right. So that's our news. Do you guys have anything to add before we move on?
No, I don't think the music is by the Beastie Boys. It says that Greyhound is Apple's biggest feature commitment, according to Deadline. It's joining a growing list of acclaimed films, including The Beastie Boys Story, The Elephant Queen, The Banker, and Holla.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I should have read more of the detail part. No, thanks for clearing that
a
up.
war movie with a Beastie Boys soundtrack would be a fun movie.
That does sound pretty interesting.
That would be wild.
I've only heard of The Banker because that was like what they were promoting. First review for today is none other than a streaming release. So apparently, as Shannon has kind enough to tell me, this was a remake that I didn't know about. It's a 1980s remake, Shannon, or something like that?
Yes, it's a movie that came out in 1983, starring none other than an 18-year-old Nic Cage as the heartthrob of the movie.
Nice.
And it is full of just the most 80s soundtrack you could imagine. I haven't watched the original, but I did go back and watch the trailer. It's hilariously bad, like bad 80s with the terrible washed out jeans, the big hair, the crazy makeup. Like not the pretty part of the 80s at the end where everybody kind of got it together and looked really cool. It was the beginning part of the 80s when they were trying to get out of the 70s and they didn't know how yet. So they just wore like really badly bleached jeans and they chopped all their long hair off, but they hadn't quite spiked it up yet. So everybody's in a leather jacket. Everybody has acid wash jeans. It's really bad. The trailer looks terrible. However, there's no way that this original movie is worse than the movie that we just watched.
Yeah, I gotta say, one, I didn't even know it was a music. I really had no idea what I was watching. I just literally clicked play and I just started watching. I'm like, oh, it's a musical. So I got excited because I really like musicals.
Me too.
And, you know, I grew up with, I really do think Hollywood needs to learn a thing or two from Bollywood when it comes to musicals. It's like,
absolutely.
When we do martial arts movies, we need to look at Asia and like China and Japan when it comes to Japan for anime or, you know, martial arts for China and things like that. I really believe Hollywood should be going to Bollywood to get musicals right, because Bollywood is like the gold standard of musicals as far as I'm concerned. You'll have a few movies here and there like Chicago and Moulin Rouge that become big, or Cats. Sorry, I had to say it. Release the butthole cut. We got the Zack Snyder
Release
cut.
the butthole cut.
Release the butthole.
That's all I want to see.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Try to catch my breath.
Hey, come on. Just tell me what happened tonight.
Zach and I broke up.
Oh my God, sweetie, I'm
No, don't do any of that. We just have no idea what I'm going through.
You'd be surprised. I'll tell you a story.
See the people walking down the street. They don't know where they want to go, but they're walking in time.
Stop. You were singing and dancing on a fountain.
That's how I remember it.
Go-go music really makes us dance.
Where should we go now? We go over the hill to Hollywood.
We got the beat, they got the beat, kids got the beat. Yeah, kids got the beat.
Want to get out of here?
Where would you want to go?
Anywhere.
What would you want to do?
Anything.
He's bad news. You don't date guys like that. Maybe that's good for a change.
Why are you doing this? Those rich people are gonna hate you.
I got a special guest here this evening.
There's this fashion college.
Where is it?
New York City.
You're not moving across the country with the guy we've never met.
You have this shiny, bright, perfect life. I don't know how to fit into this.
Everything my friends thought about you, you just proved them right.
Why do you even care what they think?
It's just me and you.
Just this movie. Shannon, you can keep going. I'll say it.
Yeah, so this movie, it stars a YouTube celebrity. Are you guys familiar with oh man, there's so many Pauls.
Me and George were talking about it, and once I saw PewDiePie.
Jake Paul.
What's his name? Paul? Logan Paul. Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
PewDiePie.
Logan Paul. And he's only in this movie because he has a large platform, and they were wanting to draw in the kids and get the kids and the youth interested in this movie. At least he's charismatic. I'll say that. At least he has charisma. So the YouTube actor in this movie is probably one of the more entertaining characters, and he plays the bad guy. So he's a jerk throughout the whole movie, which is kind of fitting if you know anything about Logan Paul going through his YouTube history.
It fit his character.
It did. He's gotten into a lot of trouble for major
Japanese
things.
rain. Oh, what was it? The Suicide Forest. God.
Okay, so we have to go into this background. So Logan Paul, about 2 years ago, I think, got into a lot of hot water because he went to Japan, and he went into the suicide forest, where it's very famous that a lot of people kill themselves there. Why he would go there, Lord knows. But while he was there, he found a body, and he actually filmed it. Yeah. And I believe he was live on camera at the time. And in a moment of not thinking clearly, he actually filmed it and put it on camera. Now, I have to say, I understand what he was doing. He's a YouTube star that's going to get 1 million bajillion views and make him a ton of money. He should never have done it, obviously, but in the moment, if he's live and you saw something shocking, your instinct is going to be to point the camera at it. He did apologize for it later, but he's gotten into a lot of hot water, not just for that, but for other things. So you can research all of that. But he is kind of a side character in this movie. He plays the bad boyfriend. As far as I know, everybody else in this movie was like an up-and-coming actress, or like a new, not very famous person.
Except for Chloe Bennett, my favorite SHIELD
was she
agent.
The mom?
No, she was the Asian girl who played the other. She looks Asian. She looks Korean.
Oh, she played one of the best friends.
She's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She plays the superhero, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
She's called Quake. Her powers are she can cause earthquakes and vibrations with her hands.
Okay. So yeah, so this movie kind of like stabs itself in the foot, because the first scene in the movie is this young teenage girl coming into the house late, and her mom gets mad at her and says like, "What happened? Why are you upset?" And the girl says, "Well, I broke up with my boyfriend, and the rainforests are dying, and everything's horrible, and I'm gonna skip going on my trip to Japan because everything is too stressful and the world is crumbling." Okay. Now, this movie is coming out during COVID-19, when the world actually is crumbling and everything is kind of horrible. And the mom's response to this is, "Oh yeah? Well, growing up as a super rich white kid in California in the height of Reaganomics in the 80s, when everything was perfect and I had $1 million to go to the beach with my friends and be at the mall all day, was just as bad. It was just as bad. You have no idea how hard my life is as a rich, white, pretty girl. You have no idea. So sit down and let me tell you about it." And then the next 2 hours is her and her rich white friends, who are beautiful and rich and live in Hollywood, California, in the Valley, and have absolutely zero problems, and nothing is wrong, and everything is great, and their lives are wonderful, except for the fact that she has to choose between which of the two hot guys that like her. She can only have one. She can't have both.
She can't have two hot guys. Oh my gosh!
It's a really hard life.
That's really tough. I mean,
and this whole movie is the mom talking down to her daughter, who actually has some real problems she's dealing with, about how her life was just as bad, and the daughter falls for this crap. And 10 minutes into the movie, the daughter is like, "Tell me more, Mom. Your life was hard. I was wrong. I completely relate to how hard your life is." And nothing in her life is hard. Everything on her life is perfect, except for these like very minor first world problems. Yeah. Like who do I go to prom with? The one hot guy or the other hot guy, who both want to take me to prom? What do I do? I don't know. This is a terrible premise for a movie. What I would have liked to see is for them to set this movie up as just, let's have fun. Everything sucks right now in the world. Let's just have fun, okay? Now, granted, when they filmed this, COVID probably wasn't a thing. But still, even with that, setting it up as the teenage girl having real problems, and the mom in the 80s, when the economy was great, she lived in a rich neighborhood, went to a good school, went to the beach with her friends every day, and had money to spend at the mall. Like, her mom had no problems at all. So we should have set this up as like, let's just have fun. We don't need the mother-daughter bonding plot. It could have just been a fun story she told her kid. It could have just been like a flashback that the mom had. All of that would have been great. I would have loved to just, let's go to the 80s and have a blast. I love the 80s. The 80s are great. I love Stranger Things. I love going to the mall. I love like all of these big hairdos and the make. It's all a blast. This should have been like let's just pretend we're Barbie dolls and everything's wonderful and let's just have a good time. It should have been like Grease. I think this movie wanted to be Grease, and it failed at the plot of what they were trying to do.
Which is funny because they have a remake that's already come out in the 80s.
Yeah, they have a movie that did well in the 80s that they did not actually copy the formula of why it did well. But that being said, there's one more problem with this movie, and that's that nobody in this movie actually can sing. And they didn't even auto-tune.
Oh my gosh.
There's not one good singer in this whole movie.
It was so bad.
Everybody sounds like a dying squirrel, okay? I could have sung better. I can't sing at all. George could have done a better version of this movie just in his basement. Like right now. George can sing any of these songs much better.
Actually, George can sing good.
George's a great singer.
George can actually sing. Yeah.
I don't know why they hired the cast that they hired, because not a dang one of them can sing. Yes, they're all very pretty, but I'm sure that there are 2 million kids in Hollywood who are pretty and can actually act and actually sing. And they all would have been happy to make this movie. So I don't know.
And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, there's
budget.
so many movies like Mean Girls or so many other movies. High School Musical is better than this, and it was a TV
I agree, and I don't even like High School Musical that much. It was so much better. I appreciate High School Musical on a new level now because this movie was so badly done.
Oh, we all knew Zac Efron was pure talent. Like everybody knew that.
Well,
I was watching High School Music. Like, yep, that kid's gonna become a movie star one day, and he did.
You can bet on it, bet on it, bet on it.
I agreed with everything you said. And the funny thing is the first 10 minutes in, I was like, okay, I can at least go with the escapism part, because it's like the daughter broke up with her boyfriend. And as every teenage girl knows, that is the end of the world when you're 16.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can buy this because it does happen. Even today, a 15, 16-year-old going through a bad breakup, that's like her whole life has like come, like she hasn't matured, everything. She hasn't grown. So I was like, okay, I'm not. And then the mom's kind of like trying not to be a jerk about it. She's like, oh, you lied, but it's okay. You know, if I've been there when I was, and I was like, okay, I can even buy that. Like, okay,
that would have been a good premise. But then the daughter says that she has real problems, like the rainforests are dying and we have global warming, and like she brings up all these real problems and then it's never addressed.
Yeah, like it's not so much even that. It's like every single actor that was the actor in the 80s was just so terrible. Except for the guy, the bully from Spider-Man Far From Home. I like his little mohawk. I was like, who is that kid? And then I realized he's Flash.
Was that Rico?
He was the bully. He's the bully, the nerd bully.
Oh, you know what? There was one good performance in this. Mae Whitman is good in everything.
Who's that?
Mae Whitman. She's Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender. In this one, she played the lesbian character.
She was a lesbian character? There was a lesbian in this movie?
Yeah, I don't think you watched. You were that checked out. She's the girl that was kind of butch.
I know what you're talking about. The punk girl.
The punk rocker girl, yeah.
Okay, so now it's coming back.
Mae Whitman is pretty good in pretty much everything. She was the only tolerable part of Parenthood that I could stand, other than Kristen Bell's husband. He's great in everything too. But she's good in everything. So she was all right in this. I don't know how she got in this. She's way too good for it.
This movie has one scene that I was like, oh, that would have been so much better if it was a better movie. But I really liked the scene. And it was scene where she invites her punk boyfriend over for dinner. And and the punk girl's like, you don't have parents? Like, what are you doing? Like, going over there to like her house? What are you gonna do? Wear a tie? And and he shows up at the house and they're sitting in the backyard, just waiting for him to come in. And he comes in and he looks at all the pictures and the Scrabble game. And I thought, okay, if this movie had more of this, could have been a pretty awesome movie, but it didn't. And then like he sees like the privilege and the richness that he doesn't have, and he just leaves. And he hears the mom and dad talking about like, just bad mouthing him, and he just he knows he doesn't fit into this whatever societal.
Which, let me just say, if somebody invites me over to their $1 million mansion for dinner, I don't care what they say about me. I'm going in for the food and to see the cool house.
Well, you're not
I
jealous
love
of
it.
them. You're not trying to achieve something that you think they have that you don't. That's the biggest difference. And
I guess so, but I mean, I want to be rich too, but
you do, but you're not gonna be jealous. Like who doesn't? But like, I mean, I don't need
Well-
it that badly. You know, I'm not like, oh, my life's all over because I don't have $1 million. You know, or anything like
I found it a little hard to relate to, because one of the ways that you can, raise yourself up in society is to go and mingle with people who are doing better than you and learn from them and see how they got there. And
Yeah,
so,
but was that
yeah, they were
really-
talking down about him, but I would have been like, the way that my personality is, I would have gone in and been like, I'm going to prove them wrong and they're going to love me by the end of this meal. So I just found it, I don't
They're
know.
gonna be asking me to be their daughter-in-law at the end of
They're
this
going to
dinner.
propose to me for the daughter. Like, that's my personality. I like face I go head into those kind of things.
No, I'm
like,
with
I would
you
have
on
been like,
that.
well, you're wrong and I'm awesome, so let's prove it. But
Yeah.
I found that a little bit hard to relate to. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, just go. They haven't even met you. They don't know you. They're judging you based on like some stereotype. So go in there and prove them wrong.
Right.
But that's me, I guess. I don't know.
I think the 80s and being a teenager, I mean, I remember when I was like 15, 16, and I didn't have, I wasn't confident yet. And if I heard somebody talking behind my back, I'd probably just cry and leave and run away too. When you're young, you're stupid. Again, the movie had ideas. And
yeah, it did.
And that's what pisses me off about this movie, because those 80s songs are wonderful. They're
really good.
Great.
I love the
Except
soundtrack.
the cast is shit. Like,
if they had
sing.
sung If
They
they had
sing
sung
anything.
these songs with any kind of energy or enthusiasm or talent, this movie could have been 10 times better. But every song that they do, I was just wishing that I was listening to the original song.
Right.
That's true. That's true. Because like what, especially. Oh, can I just bring
Yeah, jump in, George.
Under Pressure. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, it killed me.
I wish I had heard the original soundtrack or like the original song.
So you can mute it.
I love the original song, and I could not stand their thing. I mean, it was cool because it kind of went along with like their feelings in that part of the movie, but then it kind of their singing in that was
I've had that song stuck in my head all week because of that movie, and it's such a good song. There's a really funny meme right now that's like somebody interviewing for a job, and they're like, how do you perform under pressure? And he's like, well, I'm a little rusty right now, but I usually sing it.
The one scene that I really liked were those two people at the prom who were the announcers. They were.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, they were the funniest part of the whole movie.
If that movie was just them talking through like all of the high school kids' problems, that would have been great. Because he was like,
been good.
"This is the longest I've been in a gym
ever." Yeah, since high school. Yeah, that was so funny. And she was like, hello, high school. This is exactly where I want to be on my day off on a Saturday night. So good. It reminded me of the a cappella movie. What's it called? Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
That's like the announcers in that do that the entire movie, and they're the best part of the whole movie. Yeah.
And that's what I was, funny enough, I was like, I got to think of a movie to recommend because I'm going to trash this movie. And I was like, watch Pitch Perfect. Watch Mean Girls. I know it's not a musical, but Mean Girls. I've never seen Grease.
There's a Mean Girls, the musical.
There you go. Legally Blonde, the musical.
Yeah.
Shoot, anything. Legally Blonde is a dumb movie, but it works on so many levels because Reese Witherspoon is so freaking talented.
Gosh, I've been watching Reese Witherspoon movies I got hooked on Reese Witherspoon because of Pretty Little Fires. Or Little Fires Everywhere, which is fantastic. You guys need to
How
watch
have you
that.
not seen The Morning Show on Apple? It is so good.
I don't have Apple.
No, but
is it Reese Witherspoon?
Yeah, just find a way to watch it.
I'll watch it.
Because Reese Witherspoon deserves a nomination.
Gosh, she's so good at everything.
Her and Jennifer Aniston have never acted so good. Two comedians who like gave A-list Oscar performances. I could not recognize Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell, and Reese Witherspoon. Those three like crushed that show.
Those are gold.
Me and Stephanie watched the first season. It just came out like a few months ago. It's not even that old.
Okay, I'll
But
check.
after we were done, I was like, we need a second season now. So Steve Carell, Jennifer Aniston, and
I
Reese
love
Witherspoon can come back. He's a bad
That's
guy.
a
You
good
won't like
trio.
Steve Carell in this at all. He's a bad guy.
Oh,
but
well.
he's
True.
really good as the
Yeah.
bad guy because he's never played a bad guy before until
No,
at least
I don't
I
think
haven't
so.
seen
I don't
him
think he's ever
play.
It just
But-
seems against his character.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have us do that next because we did upload. I was actually gonna say, can we do the review for Morning Show because I think it deserves.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
It deserves like a breakdown. By the way, I gotta say, speaking of PewDiePie, before I ran into something else.
Wait, is he Logan Paul? Is he the same
Yeah,
person?
yeah.
Oh,
He's
okay.
he's the
Gotcha.
YouTube guy.
He's like the number one YouTuber
why is
ever.
he in this movie? Because last time I checked,
Because he has
lost
viewership.
subscribers. Didn't he get like people were just like he was losing subscribers?
I would bet he probably signed on to this like years ago. They probably started filming this like 2 years ago, right?
That's the
He
only
was
thing that
probably
makes
under
sense.
contract. He does play the bad guy in this though, the bad
Right,
guy.
he plays the. He's just.
But
a douche.
still,
But he's
yeah.
not really a bad guy, you know. He's
He's
not
just a
murdering
jerk,
anybody.
yeah.
He's just a jerk, like a.
Oh, and there was one
jock.
other. There was one other funny line in this movie when he asked her out to prom by like taking her in the boys' locker room, and then the 5 boys wrote like "prom!" each on their butt cheeks.
What was that? Why was
That
that
was
even
in
funny?
Valley Girl.
I was in high school,
No,
and
the
that's never happened before. Why would you do that?
All right, I
This
can
is
imagine.
funny.
Hold on. No, the line that was funny is she goes, "Ugh, I just got asked out by 5 assholes."
That was a pretty good line. I'll give
That
you
was
that.
a good line, but she doesn't even look surprised in the movie. So like, I can imagine like in California in the 80s, that was probably a little bit more acceptable than like today's Me Too movement kind of thing. That would never happen now and be okay in a high school, but I don't know. In the 80s, it might have been different. I don't know. I wasn't alive then.
Yeah, I mean, it
Or
could,
maybe it's
you
in
know,
the original.
So I finished the movie, and I was trying to do some more research on the movie, and I figured out this movie has a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like,
No, you're kidding.
how's it's 64%, but still, I thought it should be like 14 or 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's a fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, I can't even recommend this to teenagers, because teenagers, you know, Mamma Mia, High School Musical, name 50 other movies that you could watch that teens like that I'm not the demographic in. I'm like, I can't even recommend this movie to a teenager. And I just didn't understand that when I saw that rating. I don't know. Anyways, the point is, like, we got to move on. I don't think we need to do a spoiler.
George hasn't said much yet. Did you get
Oh,
it?
George, I'm so sorry. Did you not talk? I thought you did.
I thought I did. I don't know.
George, did you talk?
I guess not. Yeah, so for this movie, I actually, so I was really excited watching it because I started to hear some familiar sounds, like the soundtrack for it. But like it was so strange because they used the actors in it. I wasn't sure if these were songs I really have heard before or if they were just if they sounded good. Because they actually came up with good original music. So it wasn't until like probably a third of the way through that I finally recognized one of the songs, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, they're stealing this soundtrack.
It's a jukebox musical, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, well, it's cool that they're at least bringing back some of these songs. But the problem that I had was that some of the songs.
George, can you speak up? You're breaking. There's like a crunching sound. I don't know what that is. A rapper?
It might be.
Oh, okay. I was like, are we
I was
losing
playing with
signal?
something. Hold on.
Oh. Sorry, go ahead, George. My bad.
Okay, so yeah, so I was really excited about it, but it was kind of strange though because it's like they were trying to bring you into like that era, but they had music sort of like from all around that time. Like there was 70s. I mean, like there was disco. There was like they just had all different kinds of music, and then like by the time they get to Under Pressure, which I'm pretty sure was 90s, like if I recall, I was just so confused by that point in regards to where the music was coming from that it was kind of difficult because like in a normal if you think about it, in a normal high school setting, you're only listening to basically new music, right? I mean, essentially. So
Isn't that new music for them though? Wouldn't it be?
It wouldn't have been because
it's
some
the
of
80s,
that
right?
music would have been about 20 years old.
Because when I was, I mean, like they were playing, like, you know, just think of another prom. Like I actually DJ'd with a good buddy of mine for High School Music, like not a High School Music, a prom. He has his own like DJ company. So this was like 3-4 years ago that I jumped in and just went to this prom to DJ with him because he had all the sound system and I knew what I was doing. And we played like Usher's Yeah, and we played Where Did You Come From, Where Did You? And that was like all prom stuff. You know, all of that, it's still like, yeah, we definitely played new music, but we also played like Michael Jackson, Usher, Madonna, Britney Spears. So I think it's normal.
Who would be singing with that?
Apple bottom jeans.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that one too.
So, Under Pressure came out in 1981. But
really?
The reason that you thought it was 90s is because there were two major songs that sampled it in the 90s. And one of them was I think The Police, and they sampled it, and it's MC Hammer sampled it for dun 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 dun.
Is that Vanilla Ice?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, MC Hammer sampled it and Vanilla Ice sampled it. So there was three major
that makes
songs.
more sense. Okay.
There was three major songs that sampled like, or there was Under Pressure, and then in the 90s, two major songs sampled it.
Okay, wow. I learned more about music today than I ever knew. That's kind of interesting.
But that was one of the things that threw me off though, is like I can't imagine, like, despite the fact that I kind of liked that it was sort of like musical like, the fact they were singing these songs in a like in their everyday life kind of thing, even though they might have been from years before that. Like they didn't all pick songs from that era to sing them. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
And it's like they were singing these songs from different times, like just throughout the entire movie, which did, for me, in like a high school musical sort of setting, which it sort of was, it didn't quite mesh into that very well, in my opinion. At a prom, yeah, absolutely, I could see all those songs being played, but in like their everyday life, I can't imagine them just breaking it out in a song at the beach singing.
Oh yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Well, I think that they took the movie, the songs that came out for the original movie, which was made in 1983.
Right.
So I think they were probably sampling like at least like 5 years of music.
They would have been better if they just remade this movie for today's times with today's music. I think that
and just had it take place in the 80s.
Yeah, or not even that, or just like you said, like no mom, no daughter. Just
they don't
in the 80s.
They didn't need a framing device for this. They could have just had an 80s movie. That would have been fun. Or they could just make it with new music. You're right.
All right. Yeah, I think we've spent a little bit too much time, so we're going to move on unless anybody has final thoughts. Any final thoughts before we go to the score? Okay. Really? So I'll just go first since I'm talking. Final score, skip it. Don't watch it. Go see Mean Girls. Go see, I'll even recommend High School Musical because at least I like that movie more. If you're a teenage girl and you like those type of movies and you're watching this for some odd reason, like there's other good movies to watch. There is, what's that famous high school movie with songs? Hairspray.
High School Musical?
No, Hairspray.
I was going to say Hairspray, yeah. That's
like Hairspray is a great movie to watch for this. Yeah. It's 60s, but it's like it's not for me. I'm not the demographic, but I can recommend it because it's like a certain aesthetics for a movie. So I would say go watch that. Go watch High School Musical. Go watch Mamma Mia, which I don't like, but I know it's pretty famous by most people's standards. So, you might like that. So, yeah, that's my final recommendation.
I hate Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia 2 is much better.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah, much better. Same as 5.
Is Meryl Streep trying to figure out who she slept with and who's the dad still? Because that is such a cringy story.
They kicked Meryl Streep out of it, which is so much better. I can't stand her in Mamma Mia. She's the worst.
But honestly, she's great in
Honestly, I don't like Meryl Streep at all. I think she's terrible. I can't stand her in anything. Everything she's in ruins it for me.
Get out. Somebody needs to watch Devil Wears Prada or The Post.
All right, hold on. Devil Wears Prada is the one exception. She's great in that because her character's mean and you're supposed to dislike her, but I don't like her in anything. She's always so unlikable. And I think this is why I think the problem is that one of the first things I ever saw her in was Mamma Mia. And I think that's definitely that just ruined everything. Ruined everything for me.
She has the most nomination in history of any actor or actress.
Yeah, and I don't get it.
Because you have to watch the movies.
I have watched the movies.
Name some.
I've watched her big emotional scene in Sophie's Choice. I've watched her in the Lemony Snicket movie.
Okay, but Sophie's Choice is not entertaining. It's a drama where you cry like shenanigans.
I just watched her. Okay, I just watched a whole season of her in Big Little Lies, which is a fantastic show, by the way. Go watch it. I couldn't stand anything she did in that movie. She drove me insane.
You mean TV show?
Yeah, TV show. Everything she did in that movie was terrible. Very good TV show.
I'll make you a list of movies that will make you love Meryl Streep because
I did like Devil Wears Prada.
She is. Have you seen the one cooking one? That one's really good. It's on Netflix. The one where it's
two old ladies cooking, Julia.
She was so good. Oh my gosh, you'd love that movie.
Oh, I saw her in Into the Woods.
I wouldn't even watch that because it looks like crap. Unless somebody forced me like in this channel.
So I've seen all of her worst movies then.
She was good in Mary Poppins too. I liked her little upside down.
I didn't like her in Mary Poppins.
But then again, I've never seen Mary Poppins 1, so when I watched Mary Poppins 2, I was like,
you've never seen the first Mary Poppins movie? Dude, you have to watch it.
I think I saw it in second or third grade, but...
You're going to love it.
Julia Roberts, oh my goodness.
Oh, you're going to freaking you'll love Mary Poppins. It'll be your new favorite movie. You're going to cry.
Julia Roberts, I'm so confused.
All over. You're going to love that movie.
Right, not Julia Roberts.
You have to watch it.
Who am I thinking of?
Are you thinking of
Julie Andrews.
Julie Andrews. Thank
you. Julie Andrews.
Thank you. Not Julia Roberts.
I'm like, Julia Roberts. I was like, whoa. I didn't know she was alive in the 50s.
Have you seen Sound of Music?
I've seen both. I've seen Sound of Music. I've seen Mary Poppins.
But you don't remember.
But I was in second grade and I didn't know English.
You didn't know English. Doesn't count.
And same thing was Wizard of Oz. I'm just not sitting through them. I'm sorry.
You gotta watch Mary Poppins, Fahad. You will love Mary Poppins. You will love it. Really good. You'll love it.
I would watch that again.
Yeah, I'll watch it with you. You're gonna freak. It'll be your new favorite movie of all time.
Singing in the Rain is a high standard.
Yeah.
Okay, this video is about to end. Let's all
right,
Shannon, what's your final score?
For me, skip it, and I would watch the new musical that just came out on Broadway that's still in testing. It's called Six. It's basically like the Spice Girls, and it's a concert, but they teach you all about the Tudor era and the 6 wives of King Henry VIII. It's a very interesting historical Spice Girls musical, basically.
But what's the movie that you're recommending?
Well, that was a play, but if you just want good 80s nostalgia, go watch the newest episode, the newest season of Stranger Things. If you want a musical,
you can't think of a musical that you can recommend outside of this.
I'm getting to it.
Oh, it's like TV shows.
I'm trying to
think. Had one job.
I'm trying to think of a teen like a teen musical. Like watch Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect. Okay, there you go. George.
I would honestly say if you can wait until you can watch this movie for free, like when it becomes available for that,
wasn't this already free? At that point. I thought it was free.
It is? I don't know.
I mean, I just clicked on Amazon and it started playing, so I thought
it was free. I guess
Did I pay for that?
Must be.
Good Lord. No, don't tell me I paid for this.
Well, if you can watch it for free, yeah, just watch it for free. Because this movie, it does have some good nostalgic kinds of parts, and like it's fun to see everybody in high school singing. That part is kind of fun, but other than that, it's not really worth your time. I would say if you want good music, watch Pitch Perfect instead.
Or watch the original. There's an original of this that has 80s music in the actual. I haven't seen it.
That's just cringy. No.
Why?
Have you seen it, George? The original?
No. I'm just thinking Nicolas Cage, age 18, is cringy. So.
Hey, Nicolas Cage is a national treasure.
He is a national treasure. They're making National Treasure 3.
National Treasure. Are they really? I love those movies.
They're making a TV show. which I'm really excited
that's
about.
gonna be weird though, because like it was perfect for a movie. Okay,
Right.
that's all I can say about that.
All right, we're gonna move on. Come back, guys, and oh yeah, go ahead, George.
Quick thing, Zac Efron was really upset during the first High School Musical. They didn't use his voice, and so he actually yes, this is interesting. He's a good singer, okay, but they didn't use his voice for that. They used somebody else's voice. So
Disney never does.
yeah, Disney's terrible. So I think it was High School Musical 2 or 3, like where I think like he really put his foot down, said he wasn't going to do it unless they used his voice. So they finally did. But yeah, just interesting to know.
It actually reminded me a good high school movie with Zac Efron. It's with Chandler Bing. He's an adult from Friends, and then he shrinks to Zac Efron as a kid and falls in love with. What is that movie? What's that movie called? It is so good. I've seen it like 5 times.
13 again?
No.
It's
16 again.
16 again, yeah.
Yeah.
16 again.
17 again.
17 again.
Something like that.
That was a
Something
good
like that.
movie, yeah.
That movie is so good.
That one is
And his
really
best
good.
friend is like a multi-millionaire for no reason. And like he keeps trying to hook up with the superintendent or principal. Every single line and in that movie is so fantastic.
It is.
And Zac, after I saw that movie, I was like, I'm Zac Efron team. Somebody needs to give him a Marvel role where he plays a superhero like Chris Pratt or like Iron Man. I think Zac Efron deserves to be like he should
That's
be
why
like
he was in Baywatch. He was amazing.
he was great in Baywatch.
He
And
was.
I really believe Zac Efron. He's like 33. I'm like, guys, we're losing time. He has 7 years before he turns 40. Give him like a role like Iron Man or something before he like gets too old, because we're not gonna get there if we don't do it soon.
Right.
He's already 33.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's my rant. All right, that's our final score, guys. Today we're reviewing an animated film that I was not that excited to see. It was supposed to be released in theaters, I think in April or May. I think it was April. I can't remember. But it has been released on streaming instead. It's called Scoob. Because of the title and the trailer that I remember seeing, I did not think this movie was going to be like a real Scooby-Doo movie. I thought they were just supposed to be kids throughout the movie and they learn how to become friends. Surprisingly, that's not what this movie is. This movie is a full-fledged Scooby-Doo movie.
Scoob, do you realize where we are?
No.
Look around, man. The clean, modern aesthetic, the cool blue color palette. We're in
IKEA.
the Falcon Fury. Did you say IKEA?
Nope, I said Falcon Fury, just like you.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Shaggy and Scooby were taken?
Yeah. This blue light came down from the sky and beamed them up.
I can't breathe.
I'd have to assume that if they were with their friends, they wouldn't have been kidnapped.
Okay, can you skip the emotional punishment?
What was some guy one with Scooby and Shaggy?
I don't know, but I'd like to shake the hand of whoever created this. And then, you know, throw that hand in prison for trying to kill our friends.
We would always be without you, I feel lost.
Hey! This mangy stray's coming with me.
He's not a stray.
Okay, then. What's his name?
His name's Scooby.
Middle name?
Doobie?
Last name?
Doo. Gentlemen, welcome aboard.
This isn't about some guy in a rubber mask.
I would have gotten away with this if it weren't for you meddling.
This is about one of us.
Welcome to the Falcon Fury. Hang on. Turn on the lights.
Where are my balloons, Dee Dee? When I say Falcon Fury, that's supposed to cue the balloons.
Oh, great timing.
You might want to buckle up.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Maybe this can lead us to our culprit.
Jinkies.
Apparently, he's been stealing Netflix by using his mother's account.
That is not fair for the rest of us who have to pay for Netflix.
You have to pay for Netflix?
Here we go!
If you want, you can pull over and drop us off here.
We'll walk home.
I guess our new movie is an origin story.
Every hero should have one.
I want The Rock to play me.
Never gonna happen.
So I don't know who the marketing department is who set this up and what trailers they set it up as, because they should just call this movie Scooby-Doo and that would have been the end of it. Now, because of that reason and that reason alone, because I was walking in, I'm like, oh, I got to see a bunch of kids who learn to be friends and pick up a dog. I was not that excited for it. But no, now that it's like a full-fledged Scooby-Doo movie that I grew up watching, I had a blast. No, this isn't the best movie ever made. It's not even like a decent Disney movie. But if you're like me and you grew up in the 90s or even the 80s and 70s and you've seen any shape or form of Scooby-Doo, I think you'll really enjoy this little movie. It has good lines. There were some really funny lines that I was legitimately laughing.
I laughed a lot, yeah.
The one George sent me was hilarious. And it's like, I'm the Supreme Court Justice. Oh, so you're Slytherin.
Oh, yeah. I was Snapchatting that one. It was so good. What are you dressed as? Harry Potter? I'm Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Oh, okay, Slytherin. I see.
And I really enjoyed the superhero aspect of it, which I didn't see coming. I thought that was really interesting way to do. There's a little bit of a spoiler with Scooby-Doo himself that takes place in this movie that I was absolutely 100% sold on. And I have no other way to say it. I was like, yes, I want this. I want more of this.
What do you mean?
Well, the backstory of Scooby-Doo himself, the dog, and everything that led up to the end.
Okay.
You know what you've seen the movie,
yeah.
Scooby-Doo. All of that stuff was really fascinating and interesting. Every time there's a couple good cameos in this movie that I really can't say. But let's just say one has to do with American Idol, and another one has to do. It doesn't matter. Just watch the movie, guys. This movie has some great laughs. There's some twists and turns with the mask coming off that I like. Even though I saw it coming, I still laughed, which is saying something. I had a blast watching this movie. I don't know if it's because I grew up watching Scooby-Doo, or what, but I really had a fun time. I had more fun than Trolls 2 and what was that spy movie we saw with Will Smith and Tom Holland?
Oh, My Spy?
My Spy.
Oh.
Like, I think this movie's way better than those two movies. It was better. Way better, yeah.
Spies in Disguise.
Spies in Disguise, thank you. This movie was just so much fun to watch. Yeah, I don't want to go into too much except to say, yes, the movie does kind of do a little bit of, like, backstory, like how Shaggy and Scooby met and became friends, but it's only like 5 minutes, even like maybe 10, but it doesn't really delve too much into it. There's a point where it's Halloween and Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are being like bullied, and then like the gang shows up, Wilma and what's her face? I can't remember everybody, but they kind of come in.
Thelma and I don't remember the other two names.
And
Daphne.
I can't remember.
Henry?
Will? No.
No,
I can't remember. But there's a part where like these bully kids take Shaggy's candy for Halloween and throw it into this haunted house, and they're like, "We have to get your candy," and like they go in, and of course there's like a fake ghost, as you know, and there's a whole like backstory of somebody doing some criminal stuff, and they realize they're really. Favorite quote.
Favorite quote was probably, guys, I think I just found a mini Walmart.
Yeah, I was like, this is great. I'm in. Like I was especially after just not really enjoying the other animated movies we watched, except for The Prince of Egypt, Road to El Dorado, and Sinbad, which were great. Those were classics. Haven't really been that excited for a new movie. This movie is just a great, like literally, it's just a great time. If you grew up in any way, shape, or form watching Scooby-Doo, I think it's great. Introduce this to your niece, nephew, kids, neighbors, kids, I don't know. Like if you're around kids and you want to show them a good time and you want to have a good time, I would highly recommend this movie. It's not a great movie. I just think it's a fun movie that's easily recommended. I actually bought this. Like I had to buy it. I enjoyed it so much. I ended up purchasing the digital purchase for this because I would love to watch this again. The second half of the movie takes place in these superheroes whose son was a superhero and his dad retired to somewhere and the son doesn't think he can live up to his dad. There's a mechanical like android dog, and he was great, that android dog.
You liked that? I wasn't into that. I thought he was the one character I would have cut.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just like this. We really. Oh no, there's something wrong with them. No, I'm just trying to finish. Really?
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Really. And then when Daphne or what's her face like hack into the dog, she's like, "Don't go into my search engine."
Oh yeah, that was funny. Okay, all right, I'll give that to you.
That was hilarious. I'm trying to remember. There was one thing that was they said something about like copyright infringement, and I can't remember what point.
Mordor, Middle Earth.
Oh yeah,
that's right. That was
one does not simply walk into more. Oh, when he's trying to give the speech and the guy keeps shutting him down. Like,
yeah,
you can't do that. You can't do that.
I won't go into spoilers, but there's a great scene. They get pulled over by a police officer. That entire scene is gold. That scene is gold. Oh my gosh.
That was amazing.
I mean I don't have anything else to say. I really enjoyed this movie. I think most people will not cringe or hate this movie or think it's too kidsy. I think like Shannon was like so not into watching this movie, and I think even I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be good, but it's a new release. I'm really surprised by how much I like this movie.
I was pleasantly surprised as well.
Yeah, so that's my review. Go see it. Go see it if you have kids. Go see it if you grew up with Scooby-Doo. Golden popcorn for a kids movie. I'll go to Shannon next with your review.
Well, we had a little bit of a discussion going on Facebook here because I was like, please don't make me watch this. I don't want to watch a dog movie. I know how it's going to end. I know what the plot is. I hate dog movies. I hate talking dog movies. Like, don't make me watch this. And you guys were like, this is not a dog movie.
Yeah, I don't know where you got that.
Well, okay, so first of all, let me define dog movie because apparently a lot of people don't know what dog movie is. You know, but for the audience, they make about 6 of these a year. They're all the exact same movie. There's a boy, he gets a dog. The dog teaches the boy how to become a man. They grow up together. The dog dies, the man is sad, and then he reflects on his life with the dog. The end. So that is a dog movie. Sometimes the dog talks, sometimes it doesn't. I hate those movies. They're all the same and they bore me to tears. Now, this movie, the trailer sets it up like it's going to be a dog movie because it's got the boy and it's got the dog and they're meeting for the first time. And I was like, I do not want to watch this. This is going to be so boring. And dogs are like, I don't want to see this. This is not what I got, okay? The movie was so much better than that. They only did that standard formula, like for a few minutes at the beginning and like maybe a second at the end without going into spoilers. But they really get into the plot right away. So like, yeah, he meets Scooby at the beginning, but it's pretty cute and entertaining. A lot of times when they animate dogs, they animate them to be really gross. And that always makes me sick to my stomach. Like, I don't want to see all the gross dog things. Like, when we watched Sinbad, the worst part of Sinbad was that disgusting dog that always had drool. I was so grossed out by that. Like, just stop. Don't show me the dog drool. I don't need to have that animated. This is really cute. Like, for somebody that's not into dogs, I'm a cat person, Scooby-Doo was really cute in this. And, like, the way he talks, it's kind of like an Up where the dogs... they're talking like what a dog would say. It was good. Like I didn't get annoyed by the fact that there was a talking dog in this at all, which is saying a lot because I hate talking dog movies. So yeah, they did a really good job with this. Obviously, the person who made this wanted to make a Marvel movie, and they got handed the keys to Scooby-Doo, and they were like, "How do I make Scooby-Doo into a Marvel movie?" And they did an okay job. they did an all right job.
I would say it's an updated version of Scooby-Doo because superhero movies are so cultural now that they wanted to update Scooby-Doo with like kind of like a superhero thing, you know, more than them trying to make a superhero movie, I should say.
And they did a pretty good job. But what the draw to Scooby-Doo for me, because I'm not into dogs, is the mystery, and which is not that strong of a point. But I really like the old creepy houses. I'm really into the like fun, exciting Halloween stuff that isn't really scary, but the eyes are moving on the wall, and you're in this old building, and you're making discoveries. But that's my favorite thing that I liked about the Willoughbys is they were in this really cool old house, and there was a mansion. So I was looking forward to that in Scooby-Doo, and they like teased you with it, and there was like a fake ghost, and they're like only in the first 10 minutes of the movie, they go into an old spooky mansion, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then it's over in 10 minutes, and then the rest is a Marvel movie. So, I mean, I did not expect to see superheroes in a Scooby-Doo movie at all. Did not expect it. But for what I got, it held my attention. It did make me laugh several times, and I didn't hate it. So there's that.
Yeah. So what's your recommendation at so we can move on to
if you have kids, your kids are going to love this movie. If you're an adult, maybe stream it.
Which is the only way to watch this movie right now. So
well, that's true. If you can get it for free, like I'd prefer to see it for free. It's a $20 movie right now. It's a little pricey for an adult.
True.
But if you have kids, $20, yeah, get it. They're gonna love it.
I think I would, if I were you, I would add if you grew up with Scooby-Doo, they're doing a good job of keeping up with the mythology and the cartoon of Scooby-Doo at the same time.
It's definitely better than those live action movies that came out in the 2000s.
I like those movies.
You do?
Yeah, but I was like in middle school, so you know.
Yeah.
Not that. All right, George, what do you got for us, sir, with your review?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed watching this movie. It was a little cheesy for me trying to watch it. So yeah, since I didn't really grow up with Scooby-Doo. I mean, I've seen some of the Scooby-Doo movies, like the live action ones. I thought they were fun, you know, a little cheesy, but I mean, Scooby-Doo's supposed to be that way. So
right.
With this movie, I really enjoyed it. I thought the comedy in it was great. I thought that the animation was pretty good. You know, wasn't anything spectacular. I mean, I didn't watch Scooby-Doo to see amazing animation. but
it was good though. It was the second half of the movie with the flying and the costumes design. I was like, this isn't bad at all. In fact, I would say they're trying really hard to like make the animation better than just normal, but decent.
The best animation I've ever seen for any kind of Scooby-Doo.
That's true.
That's for sure. I mean,
I can see why this was supposed to originally come out in theaters. After I saw some of the details, I'm like, oh yeah, like this is a full-fledged Scooby-Doo movie with the cartoon style, but way better effects than any Scooby-Doo movie.
Absolutely. And so because of that, I think this movie is great to watch. I honestly, just being me, you know, not being a kid, I would still watch it.
But you're a kid at heart, and that's what's important.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, I would still watch this movie. I would maybe wait and see if like Shannon said, I mean, the price is a little bit high. If you don't have kids, the price is a little bit high for this movie. If you do have kids, it's definitely worthwhile. I mean, this might be about as worthwhile as getting Trolls, if not even more entertaining for them.
Way more entertaining than Trolls.
So much better than Trolls.
Like this thing, like... I do like Trolls, but this movie blows Trolls out of the water. I'm sorry.
That's true.
I
On
hated
an entertaining
Trolls.
level, this Definitely is more interesting. Like Trolls is more of like a toddler entertaining. This is like more of like a middle school entertaining. So
yeah.
This definitely definitely one up Trolls in that aspect.
There's this weird fine line that you're talking about that I love seeing. It's like it's kidsy and cheesy, but it's not too cheesy where I can zone out. There's like the
True.
perfect amount of cheese. You know,
Just the way I like my pizza, man.
like when the cop was talking to Shaggy, the kid, and he was like, "What's his first name?" Scoob. Doobie. Well, apparently the dog has a middle name, so you know. I guess that's the law.
That was the
like,
line.
Oh my gosh.
That was the line that sold me on this movie. When he says, "Well, if the dog has a middle name, I can't take it away. I don't understand why they have a law." It seems weird they would have a law like that, but that's the law. And he says it completely deadpan. I cracked up. That was so good. So good.
I was in the opening where Shaggy is just playing these sad music songs from like a different
that was
it opened on California Dreaming by Tupac. Or California Love.
Or something.
California. It was so good. The soundtrack is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like as Fahad was saying, like he was just walking down the street by himself with a lonely, I'm so lonely.
Yeah.
That was so funny. And like all the other different, just like really lonely songs from all the time periods, and it was just like, wow, that was hilarious.
So I was a little confused on the timeline for this movie because it starts with like a 90s song, but they're also like the background looks like they're in the 70s because it's all tie-dye.
Maybe that was a throwback. Yeah, I think it was just more like a, hey, we're giving honor to the original 70s.
But if he says in the movie that like when he's an adult, he says that he met Scooby-Doo 10 years ago. He looks like he's about 7 or 8 in the early scenes.
Yeah.
So, but it was the 90s because he's playing those really 90s songs, and he has a smartphone in his hand. So it must have been the 2000s.
No, it wasn't a smartphone. It was an iPod.
Was it an iPod? So then it must have been the 10 years ago. Must have been the 2000s.
Yeah.
But they just put 70s stuff in the background.
Well, the thing is that honestly, like if you think about the area where he was at in that period of time, like so basically he was at the beach, right? Most of the stuff at the beach hasn't really changed or didn't really change between the 70s to the 2000s all that much.
That's true.
I mean, you would see
those shops are still the same. Yeah,
they're the same.
Right.
You'd see people with tie-dye shirts.
Surfboards.
All gonna be
that's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your final score, George?
For me, I would say watch it. This is where it gets tricky because the thing is that like I don't really like for a regular person I wouldn't agree with the price on it right now, but definitely if it lowers in price, definitely watch it. And if you have kids, just go ahead and watch it. So yeah, probably golden popcorn.
I bought it because I definitely want to watch this movie with my niece and nephew. I pre-ordered it, so it'll when it comes out on full-fledged release. I honestly think what they're doing is really smart. How they've been releasing these movies with the whole like pay $20, you get to see it once or twice at home, and they still get ticket money like we would when you go to the movie theater. Again, I wouldn't suggest this if it wasn't for a channel or if you didn't have a whole home theater system where it feels like you're having family and friends together to watch a movie. But I would also say like this is a great movie to pre-order and purchase when it does come out on full-fledged release. So it's kind of up to you. I did see the rent was only $3.99 to watch this movie on Google Play. You could watch this for $3.99. If your wife...
well then definitely watch it then. It's
definitely watch it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't click on the Google Play website. I just saw it as an option. So they could be just messed up and you go in and it could be...
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, that could
because I don't have Google.
It's probably $20.
Well, if it's $20, then I would say skip it. But if it's not, and you can rent it for less than $5, sure. I purchased this. I'm gonna own it when it's done pre-ordering and it comes on full-blown release, because then I can watch it with my niece, nephew, and my other kids from my family if they ever come over with their mom and dad and something we could play. So yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to spoilers. Before we go on to spoilers, FYI, this movie has been greenlit for a sequel, and the ending, without going into spoilers, is set up for a sequel as well, as you can see. So just something to think about. Like if you're like, oh man, if this movie is good, should I invest? Yeah, you should invest and you know, we hope that the second movie that comes out is as entertaining. Nothing groundbreaking, just funny and fun like this movie.
The nice thing about like mystery cruise is that you can do endless amounts of stories because you can always set up a new mystery.
Yeah, and they should set it up this way. I think this and Johnny Quest and Captain Planet, I don't know why these movies of these like classic cartoons have not taken full-fledged like updates to what Scooby-Doo has done. Because I think I would sit down and watch Johnny Quest right now if they remade it like they did Scooby-Doo. Because Johnny Quest was my jam back in the day. Same thing with Captain Planet.
I've never even heard of Johnny Quest.
Oh.
I've heard of Captain Planet, but I never watched it.
Watch the intro for Johnny Quest. It is so good. It's like, you're like, oh, this deserves to be remade into live action or just like 3D animated like Scooby-Doo. Just watch the opening and you'd be hooked. Just a great cartoon. I just think there's a lot of options from 80s and 90s that could get an update where you don't have to go full-fledged Bumblebee or Transformers, where it costs like $200 million to make, and you can like budget at less than $50 million and do a small animated 3D movie like this.
Have you guys ever read The Boxcar Children?
I think I've heard of it.
So I have a little conspiracy theory. I'm pretty sure that Scooby-Doo got based on The Boxcar Children because The Boxcar Children is a group of kids who solves mysteries. Their names are Henry, Jesse, Violet, and Benny. It's a boy, girl, and then they have a dog named Watch. And there's like 120 books, and it's these 4 kids, and they just go and they solve mysteries together.
So it's like the Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew.
Yeah. We used to love them when I was a kid. We would read tons and tons and tons of them.
Goosebumps?
Yeah, it's like that. So when you have a mystery series, like when that's the whole thing is like they're solving mysteries, you can do tons of stuff with it. You can just go anywhere. You can make a bunch of these movies. There's no end to the stories you can make.
Okay, we're about to hit the 10-minute like shutdown mark, so let's move on to spoilers real quickly. I gotta say, okay, I love the entire design of the ship. I love that stupid mechanical dog. I liked the banter that the dog and the superhero and the girl had. And they did a really good job developing those 3 characters, surprisingly, which I didn't see in the trailers. What's up, George?
I just gotta say, I absolutely love the sucker robot. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, I did too. I liked even the villain and his little backstory. He told, I lost my friend to the porthole and I gotta get him back, but he like kind of shoved him.
Yeah, no, from what I understand, Muttley is a character on the original TV show.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And Dick Dastardly, yeah. But I haven't seen.
Well, that makes it even better. Yeah. I liked all of that. I like when Shaggy and Scooby first get into this. Do you know where we are? It's like IKEA.
IKEA? Oh, and bright lights, clean lines everywhere. Everything is white.
I took a bet in myself. I'm like, I bet he's gonna say the Apple Store, but he said.
Did
IKEA.
You say IKEA? No, you said IKEA.
I like the island story where they had to go on the scavenger adventure throughout like the world to get to Rome. I think it was Rome. Where was it?
I love the caveman. Oh my gosh.
God. You have to fight
so
me.
Funny.
Oh, that can't be that difficult. and my friends that I brought. And the girl, oh my God, that police girl is just, it killed me. Like, I'm like, oh, she's gonna be the villain.
That was funny.
And even though I saw it coming, I still laugh. I was like, I have mixed feelings about this. I don't know what to do with this because he's like finds her attractive, but then it's a guy and he's just like doesn't know how to rationalize.
I have mixed feelings about this. He's like an old man.
Yeah. Simon Cowell.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hold on, we gotta talk about the fact that Simon Cowell is in this movie.
I loved it. It was
why did they meet Simon Cowell at a restaurant? Like, first of all,
it was like
none of today's kids care about Simon Cowell. Like, none of the kids that are watching this movie are going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember American Idol from 15 years ago and how funny Simon Cowell was and how he was mean to everyone. Like, none of the kids have the context to understand why he was in this movie.
Well, it was for us.
He's not,
it was for you, me, and George. Who did,
I guess so, yeah, but
because if you're a teenager or a young adult, you remember all of this. I mean,
yeah, we do. But like, it
I think
was
a
15 years
would.
ago.
Yeah, but a 15-year-old would know who's Simon, or 14-year-old.
Maybe.
Better.
America,
I don't know.
he's still on those shows. He's on what's
but
the
who's
new one he's
watching
on?
them?
A lot of people.
People
like
still
50
watch it all the
million.
time on YouTube.
The Voice?
Like
Is he
all
on
The Voice. No, it's
Yeah,
not The Voice.
maybe you're right.
It's the one where it hit the X. Oh no, that's The
X
Voice.
Factor.
No. Sorry, it's the one where there's a
The Mask.
America's Got Talent. He's on America's Got Talent
Yeah.
now, and he's
Do
been
people
on that
still
for
watch
years.
that?
Well, he was on Britain Got Talent too. I mean, like he's not.
He's made a career out of just being mean to bad singers.
I mean, it's the things we're not allowed to say, but that's what we would say.
Oh yeah,
so it's
definitely.
Simon Cowell, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you?
No filter. It's perfect.
Some people need to be told, like, okay, you know what? This is
Yeah,
dream.
you know what? Get out of this.
Shut it down. Like,
Right.
go do
Find
something
a new
else with it.
dream.
Yeah. And I think, like, just for that reason and that reason alone, I think he's great for that character because sometimes
great
people need
judge.
hard truth. Yeah. I'm not
It's
saying
the
he's a nice
same-
guy. I wouldn't want to have dinner with him or hang out with him, but I think he's needed in some way, shape, or form. So that's why it's funny because he's the bad guy who's also pretending to be the bad guy. He's the reason he splits the entire group together because the things he said to Shaggy and Scooby, and they kind of went off to their own little adventure.
And
love the ending with this Simon Cowell. Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. How can he be at hosting American Idol or America's Got Talent, but at the same time robbing this thing? And then they rip it off again. All that stuff is great.
Nobody goes for the double unmasking.
Yeah, it's like we've never seen that before. Where Scooby-Doo's like talking about there's always just been one mask in the history of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
You never had to take two masks. Drat, if it wasn't for you kids figuring out I had two masks. I like the little storyline. It did. I actually got a little emotionally involved because like one person had to be on the other side, and Shaggy decides to sacrifice himself for Scooby-Doo. I thought that was a great. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that where a human being like kind of sacrifices his own thing, not death, but just separation or something. Where
for a dog,
the animal, for a dog, like that was new, and I thought that was.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any examples. I can't.
It's always an animal that sacrifices it for their human, but never. I mean, it makes sense because most of the time those dogs are just dogs. They're not talking dogs. They're not have human emotions and acting like Scooby do.
It's always.
So.
They never save the dog. It's always the dog that saves the human.
And I thought that was well done. And then, of course, they're like, there has to be more. It can't just be that. And they read the little statue symbol, and those ghost dogs kick Shaggy back out and close the door. All of that stuff was great. I don't know. It was a great adventure little animated movie. This is the most I've ever thought I'd talk about when it comes to like a Scoob movie, but here I am talking about all the things I like.
I did wish that they had more of the like creepy haunted houses. There's some really fun Scooby-Doo content if you wanna have a little bit of fun. They released the original cartoon. They released like behind the scenes Scooby-Doo, but it's like the characters talking about. It's like that they had filmed a documentary and all this stuff was really happening. And then they like sit down and interview each of the characters.
Wow.
And they're like, have you ever noticed like none of these billion-dollar mansions ever have any security systems? And like, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I don't know what else to add except I'm excited. If there ever, I mean, whenever the next sequel comes out, I'll definitely be on board with it. Did they ever announce SpongeBob? I saw the trailer and I got excited.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
I
don't know.
Because I'm like, I think they were both supposed to. That's what I thought about when Scoob was released. I was like, wait a minute, both of these movies have.
Well, we saw the trailer for both of them. I thought at what was it, Frozen 2?
Yeah, we did.
We saw Frozen 2, so yeah, I would have thought.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something to think about. But anyways, yeah, this is our review, guys. Final score. If you had a great time, if you're watching the spoiler review, you obviously also might either be agreeing or disagreeing with us. I don't know, but we'll keep you guys posted. So, what was that?
Sorry, my plate.
It was a dish.
This is the end of our video. Look out for Artemis Fowl, which comes out next week, and tomorrow we'll be watching Lovebirds, and I'll,
Can't wait. That looks great.
Yeah.